A motor-mouthed mercenary and a grizzled legend crash headlong into the multiverse. Deadpool and Wolverine is a loud, profane, surprisingly heartfelt buddy movie that treats superhero canon like a jungle gym. The film mixes savage action with stand-up quality banter and constant fourth-wall talking, but underneath the jokes it is about guilt, grief, and the hope that a second chance can still matter. In this long-form recap, we walk through the movie beat by beat, jokes, gags, and confirmed characters included, then stop right before the final showdown so your audience can experience the climax themselves. This script follows the movie's structure without duplicating dialogue. Wade Wilson's boring new life, the arrival of the Time Variance Authority and its handler Mr. Paradox, the desperate search for a Wolverine variant, the wasteland at the end of time called the Void, and the rise of Cassandra Nova as a mind-bending threat. We will fold in Deadpool's meta-humor as color, keep only confirmed elements, and give you clean, complete paragraphs sized for voiceover delivery. Timestamps are placeholders you can replace with exact timecodes from your cut. When we first see Wade, he is aggressively ordinary. The former mercenary sells used cars with a salesman grin that lasts 2 seconds before collapsing into sarcasm. He roasts lemon law clunkers as character building, waves at the camera to ask if this counts as character development, and admits he is, in a phase where explosions are more emotional than literal. Nights are quieter at Sister Margaret's, where Weasel ribs him for going soft and Wade deflects by trash-talking his own franchise. There are jokes about budget cuts, crossover contracts, and the awkwardness of living in a Disney era, all of it masking a simple truth: Wade is restless and a little lost. Reality literally interrupts. Orange-lit portals crack open and the Time Variance Authority steps through with polite menace. Their point man is Mr. Paradox, an impeccably dry bureaucrat who delivers devastating news as if reading a parking ordinance. Wade's timeline is destabilizing because the universal anchor in his world, Logan, has died. Without that anchor, events drift. Wade tries to joke his way past the briefing, comparing the TVA to the Department of Motor Vehicles, asking if there is a take-a-number system for apocalypses, and wondering out loud whether he is finally important enough to get a crossover. Paradox, unfazed, tells him there is one practical move left: find a viable Wolverine variant from another universe or watch his own reality fall apart. Deadpool refuses to accept cosmic HR memos without receipts. In a midnight sequence that plays horror for laughs, he digs up Logan's grave while making puns about digging up old storylines. The punchline lands like a punch in the gut. Inside the coffin is an adamantium skeleton, heavy and final. Wade stares, then comments to the audience that this is the cheapest effect with the heaviest feelings, a perfect Deadpool line that undercuts grief with gallows humor. The point stands: his Logan is gone. Mr. Paradox appears long enough to hand over a device that can traverse realities and to warn Wade that every hop risks attracting the wrong attention. Wade straps on the device anyway, muttering that consequences are a third-act problem. The middle stretch becomes a multiverse travelogue powered by sarcasm. In one world, Wade finds a Wolverine who is all melancholy and whiskey, a man who would rather fight the bottle than fate. Deadpool tries pep-talking him, fails, and gets thrown through a table. In another, a show tunes Wolverine belts out J's hands optimism. Wade applauds, bows, and then admits that musical numbers are not the kind of healing factor the timeline needs. He stumbles into a cartoony pocket universe where Dogpool, a ferocious canine in a tiny red mask, barks at him like a drill sergeant. Wade declares the pup the goodest boy of murder, clips a joke about merchandising, and pockets a squeaky toy as if it were a sacred relic. Through all of it, he keeps turning to camera to riff about variant logic, studio contracts, and how many ways you can style the same hair. None of these Wolverines is right. The search is funny, exhausting, and starting to feel hopeless. Eventually, Wade lands on a version of Logan who looks like a man built out of regrets and adamantium. This Wolverine has the weapons, the instincts, and the refusal. He does not want to be anyone's anchor. Deadpool tries everything: harassment via compliment, bribery via junk food, pity via monologue, and finally the most honest pitch he has: my world falls apart if you say no. It is not agreement that gets Logan moving so much as annoyance and a streak of responsibility he cannot quite kill. He does not promise heroics, but he puts his boots on, which, for Wolverine, is consent with claws. The Void is a wasteland where lost timelines go to rot, cracked buildings, silent storms, artifacts from realities that blinked out like bad reception. It is also Cassandra Nova's throne. Bald, elegant, and casually monstrous, Cassandra reads minds like books and shreds defenses like paper. She does not shout, she smiles while telling you how little you matter. Her plan is simple and terrifying: collapse stray universes into the Void, crown herself the Nexus, and write the remaining realities around her will. Her first demonstration is awful and absurd, She forces a squad of guards to applaud a speech they cannot stand, then compels them to compliment her diction while they tremble. Deadpool heckles from a balcony about bald villain monologue quotas, gets hurled across the plaza with a thought, and pops back up to rate the telekinesis as Oscar bait if the Academy had a sense of humor. Wolverine, more wary, watches the precision and understands the threat. Not everyone in the void kneels. Wade and Logan find a pocket community of survivors who have been living between Cassandra's patrol routes and the edges of annihilation. They are practical and suspicious, the kind of people who have survived because they stopped expecting rescue. A few recognize Wolverine from other lives and keep a reverent distance, more recognize Deadpool's voice and tell him to stop narrating out loud. There is a hard-won kitchen, a map stitched from scavenged signage, and a rule about lights after dark because some things in the void hunt by the slightest motion. Wade cannot help himself. He names the hideout the pit of plot development, gets shushed, and then actually gets to work. The movie's spine is the Wade-Logan dynamic. Wade wants to be a hero while refusing to look like one. Logan wants to be left alone while carrying a history that will not leave him. They share a language of insult that doubles as intimacy. An argument about tactics turns into a brawl in the tight aisle of a derelict transport, elbows, knees. A headbutt that Deadpool insists is a friendly reset, and the kind of swearing that sounds like teamwork. Logan calls out Wade's habit of hiding behind humor. Wade fires back that guilt is not a strategy. The scene ends not in agreement but in an exhausted silence that feels like progress. That becomes their rhythm, conflict, jokes that land like bandages, forward motion anyway. Cassandra understands morale better than many heroes do. She unleashes Deadpool variants as psychological warfare, mirror images designed to distract and demoralize. A prim, sanitized PG-13 Deadpool lectures about language while swinging foam batons. A laconic cowboy Deadpool insists on catchphrases. A mute mime Deadpool boxes the wind with perfect form. Wade hates all of them on sight. The melee is a choreographed insult to seriousness, and Wolverine slices through it with disgusted efficiency, declaring that one Deadpool is already too many. Wade agrees while simultaneously arguing for his own irreplaceability. When the last copycat topples, he admits to camera that he would absolutely watch a limited series about mime Deadpool if the money was good. The march toward Cassandra's stronghold is a trail of near disasters. There's a set piece on a collapsing overpass made of mismatched freeway segments that fell into the void at different times. Timing and luck are the only physics that still work. There is a sequence in a museum of lost artifacts where objects flicker between realities, and a wrong step can strand you in a dead timeline. The pair fight side by side because the terrain forces them to. Wade turns a loose guardrail into a whip, misses on the first try, makes the second count, and then bows as if the stumble was part of the routine. Logan anchors, absorbing punishment and returning it with decisive violence. Every victory costs breath and blood, and every joke drains a little less pain from the room than the one before it. Cassandra Nova is terrifying not because she shouts, but because she is precise. She knows the version of regret that keeps Logan up at night, and she can replay it inside his skull in perfect fidelity. She knows Wade's fear that he is a mascot instead of a man and can make him feel the audience turning away. She weaponizes memory as easily as gravity. When Paradox reappears, no longer hiding that the TVA's rules are a leash he's willing to hold, Cassandra does not need to recruit him with promises. She hands him a justification: prune the worlds that do not behave, call it order, and keep the badge shiny. Deadpool calls them cosmic hall monitors, gets shoved into a wall without Cassandra lifting a finger, and mutters that he has definitely dated worse. The humor only lands because the ache is real. Late in the second act, Wade admits that he is terrified the mask is all he has left, that if he stops joking there is nothing underneath that anyone wants. Logan does not give a speech. He says the two words he is best at, get up, and then does the only thing he believes in: he keeps moving forward. That becomes the credo of their strange partnership. Wade finds a way to say thank you without saying it. Logan finds a way to accept the thanks without looking at it too closely. The void does not care about their progress, but the audience can feel it. Deadpool calls the TVA the DMV of destiny, points out that he and Logan only get this crossover because the lawyers finally high-fived, and jokes that Dogpool will outsell them both in plushies. He riffs on franchise mergers, teases the musical career that made Wolverine sing on Broadway, and throws side-eye at the notion of sacred timelines by asking if they come with a loyalty program. The fourth wall is not a wall so much as a revolving door. He steps through when the tension spikes, then steps back in when steel and blood take over again. By now the board is set. Cassandra Nova is ready to trigger a device that will drag unstable universes into the void and let her rewrite what remains. Mr. Paradox has stopped pretending neutrality and started managing the pruning schedule like an accountant of extinction. Wade and Logan, bruised and out of clever detours, have a narrow path to the heart of the fortress and a handful of allies who know how bad the odds are. The last thing we see before this recap stops is movement toward that door. No description of the plan, no blow by blow of the final fight, just the throb of an ending that has not happened yet. That is the journey we cover here. A bored Wade yanked into cosmic relevance, a dead anchor in a graveyard, a ridiculous shopping trip through the multiverse, a reluctant Wolverine pulled back into the habit of saving things, and a villain who uses thought as a weapon. The jokes never let up, but neither does the ache. We stop on purpose before the final confrontation so your viewers can live the last stretch for themselves. Replace these section ranges with your own timestamps, record the voiceover, and you have a complete long-form recap that preserves the ending while giving every scene the space it deserves.